Well, we made it to December, and now another year is almost behind us. In celebrating the holidays, I'm happy to announce that last month was an absolutely fantastic month for Las Vegas real estate. While the market typically slows down this time of year, we had the greatest November that I've seen since I started keeping track. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. Okay, first up is last month's actual sales. As you can see on the screen now, last month's sales were insane. We sold 2,424 homes. This was an astonishing 33% increase over last November's sales. Again, I literally had to check these numbers like 3 times just to make sure I didn't make a mistake here. To give you an idea, normally November sales plummet anywhere from 19 to 26% from October. This year, it wasn't even a 1% drop off. This illustrates a very high level of demand. All right, next let's talk about median home prices. On the screen now, you can see that in addition to sales increasing, the median home price jumped up 3% last month to $236,600. Considering the median price had been stagnant for pretty much 6 months straight, to jump 3% just in November is borderline incredible. All right, now let's check out the supply side of the business model, which is represented by our inventory levels. On the screen now, you can see that we dropped yet again this past month down to only 6,689 homes. This was almost an 8% drop from a month ago. Now, while this sounds like a huge number, this is almost identical to what happened this time last year. Inventory always drops this time of year, but what's a bit more disturbing this year is that while inventory is dropping at the typical pace, this currently marks 13 straight weeks of declining inventory. Currently, our inventory is down about 12% from where we were this time last year. All right, next, let's see how our current inventory is looking. Right now, about 7% of our market consists of short sales, while only about 3% are foreclosures. This leaves about 90% of the market as normal or traditional inventory. The funny thing here is that the numbers sometimes do lie. Because our overall inventory has decreased so much, even though the amount of foreclosures and short sales have dropped as a percentage, it looks as though the short sales are actually up. But in reality, both short sales and foreclosures are actually continuing to decrease, so don't worry about that. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about foreclosure activity. As always, the county's almost a month behind, so the most recent data we have is still from back in October. But as you can see on the screen now, we only had 406 notice of defaults filed in October. Like I've said for a couple years now, nothing to worry about here. At this point, you can pretty much ignore the doom and gloom theorists that are predicting this second wave of foreclosures to hit us. The notice of default activity pretty much illustrates the amount of foreclosure activity likely to occur, say, a year from now. These numbers are so small that it's essentially a fact that we won't see any significant amount of foreclosures hitting our market for at least the next year. All right, so let's wrap this up. Sales were beyond fantastic last month, median prices rose as a result, and inventory is decreasing at a rapid pace, while our market appears very secure from default activity. So what does this all mean to us? Well, like all markets, the relationship between supply and demand dictates everything. Right now, we have a very high demand with very little supply. As a result, prices increase. Now, normally we don't have prices increasing during the holidays, but we also never see demand go through the roof either. Now, on the downside, mortgage interest rates have increased substantially since Trump has been elected. While the Fed is all but guaranteed to increase interest rates next week, this doesn't necessarily affect mortgage interest rates as much as it affects car loans, credit card rates, and home equity lines of credit. Now, this month I did an entire video with the president of Noble Home Loans to explain how and why interest rates have gone up. So click up here somewhere for a link to that video. Suffice to say, however, it does appear that mortgage interest rates will continue to increase for a while. But there is some good news here. Now that interest rates have actually increased, refinances are actually going to pretty much die off. I mean, what incentive is there to refinance if the new rate is equal to your current rate? Already refinances are down 50% as a result. One opinion is that while interest rates will rise in the short term, soon demand will diminish to the point that mortgage interest rates will have to decrease again in order to create some demand. Either way you cut it, while rising interest rates can drastically affect lower end buyers with high debt to income ratios, interest rates are still historically low. Well, that's it for this month, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next year.